you see the difference? You ready to be the one?
I want a Benz, I want a best friend, I want a Louis V lens, I want a Ray with a 10, I want the finer things, I want designer things, I want a lot of things, I just want the rings.
The Houston Rockets.
I just want the rings. I just want the rings. I just want the rings. The rings. I just want 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 the Porsche and going back and forth. Don't got no remorse. I carry the torch. And for what it's worth, I won't get divorced. I want to ring like a Bron. I want to ring like I'm Draymond. I want to ring like I'm Ray.
Let's start creating your look. If you haven't already done so, download the GameFace HD app. Scan yourself and get your face in the game.
Just like Lior, I'm like Phil Jackson up in New York. I might go on a PGA tour. Yeah. I just want the rings. I want the rings. The rings. Yeah. I want to be the best. Know what that means. It means. Yeah. I want a Benz. I want a best friend. I want a Louis V lens.
Your hairstyle says a lot about your look. Let's choose yours.
I want a lot of things. I just want the rings. 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 The rings. It took a lot of sacrifices just to get her, you dig? I had to go out there and get it. Who ain't gonna come to me? Yeah. I just want the rings, yeah. Like I'm down on one knee, yeah. And it ain't no I ain't team, yeah. Everything what it seems, yeah. I've been having bad dreams, yeah. That I was a has-been, yeah. And going back to deep.
Beard, scruff, or clean shaven, your path to facial hair greatness starts here. Now it's time to decide what kind of player you want to be. First, let's choose your player type: guard, wing, or big.
Shooter like I am Stojakovic. I'm feeling like Kobe. Shooting 1,000 shots a day. Where I'm from, yeah, that ain't none. They shoot 1,000 shots a day. Lot of sacrifices that it takes. Are you willing to do what it takes? I wanna be mentioned with Pox and Bigs and Dre's and Yays and Jays. I want a Benz. I want a best friend. I want a Louis V lens. I want a Ray with a 10.
Now, let's define your style of play. This will determine the impact you have on the court.
I just want the rings. 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 The rings. I just want 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 the rings.
Now, it's time to choose your player's height and weight. Every choice you make here will affect your player's physical capabilities, both good and bad. So choose wisely before you lock in. Like millions of other kids, you dreamed of one day being in the NBA. You wanted to be a star. And someday, to rise above and become the greatest to ever play. You dreamed of being the one. But the road to stardom is never easy. There are obstacles, injuries, and disappointments. Adversity is universal. It can happen to anyone at any time. And one day, it happened to you. You went from being a guaranteed lottery pick to a kid who may never even play college ball again.
Now, look, it's always bad to hear about injuries, especially college kids, of course.
Yeah.
But Stephen A. Smith, this one is particularly disheartening because we are 2 weeks into the season and one of the top NBA prospects in the country goes down potentially with a season-ending injury, a knee injury. That's a killer.
I couldn't agree more. When I heard he was carried off the floor today, all you can do is find yourself hoping that he'll make it back. That's the bottom line. But my heart goes out to him because I didn't expect this. This is a devastating injury. It's never good to have something like this happen to you.
The team doctor broke the news. Torn ACL, sprained MCL, and a torn meniscus. Surgery was scheduled, but your game will likely never be the same. At the 2016 NBA draft, your name is still mentioned. Not as a prospect, but as a cautionary tale.
Now, there's another huge story in this year's draft. A record number of underclassmen, 30 of them, undrafted. And I hope, anyway, that this is a lesson. This serves as an example to college players. I'm not talking about the ones who are genuinely one and dones, the guys you know are going to be lottery picks. I mean the rest of them. They're not sure shots. You're not sure they're going to be lottery picks. Don't just use the college system for a year thinking you're going to bounce. It doesn't work like that. If you don't have the talent, it doesn't work. You got to be cultivated in the system.
Please. There you go again with your blanket generalizations. You know how you are, oh, Max. The woe is me. Oh, my Lord. I can't take it. I just can't take it. It's a case-by-case basis. You can't just blanketly decide this should not be one and dones or this should be one and dones. You got to go on a case-by-case basis. Some dudes deserve to be one and dones. Some people don't. It's on a case-by-case basis.
And that is my point. Thank you for making it. And members of the media like Stephen A. Smith are encouraging these kids to come out early.
Look, Max, bottom line is this. You got to take this into consideration. You had two dudes. They were called the Height brothers. Now, you had Nick Howard. This kid had a lot of promise. What does he do? He goes to college. Very uneventful first year, no doubt. The second year, he was pretty good. Here's the problem. The NBA, it's not about pretty good. You need to be great on the collegiate level, on the prep level, in summer leagues and what have you, in order for you to get the stature that you deserve. That's the bottom line. You're pretty good ain't good enough to be that stud NBA.
That's exactly my point.
Let me finish. There's another example. I did say the Height brothers. I wasn't talking about one individual. I was talking about two. What happens? One and done in a different way. 1 year, one ACL injury later, and look where he's at now. His future is clearly uncertain. So you got to take advantage of that opportunity because you never know when an injury is going to cost you everything.
Stephen A., listen to yourself. Let's listen to yourself for a second. You give one argument for why a kid should come out early, a one-and-done situation. I can give you 30 arguments this morning alone why they should stay in school. And now you have to wonder what a kid like Nick Howard, who has given up his college eligibility, does next. What does he do next?
First of all, don't sweat the technique. The argument, or one argument, as long as it's strong enough, that's all that matters. That's number one. Number two, the Height brothers was something special. What they really, really need to do. I'm going to tell you what they need to do, Max. They need to get back to playing together. My sources are telling me the ACL injury has been completely healed. So go on a pro-am circuit. Go in summer leagues. Do what you got to do to get back on the court together to remind everybody of what you once were. Because once you pull that off, the sky's the limit. That's what they need to do. Get back to playing ball together, because when people see what you can do as one, the other arguments don't really matter. Like I said, don't sweat the technique.
off on these riches, cause the actor is rented, and I need something more tinted. Hop in the whip and we been it. I caught it with Betty White. Oh, thing, like money they counting, I see it. Broke, but we dreaming. Out the window, I'm leaning. Get out my lane, and when I get it, ain't gon' change. I'ma still be the same regular. Talking that.
I bet you feel so. Got your head in the cloud, but you still come around like. I seen what you started. I know what you promised. You're on and you're popping like. Soon as you put your feet to the ground, how you would get out some of that. Was the same back then as you are now. Let's hope you stick around. Come on.
I'm a window for homies. I know all of them watch. Time and time again, reminiscing, remembering blocks. I used to walk around on them. It's been a while, now we back. Gotta speak on it. Used to throw all my dreams in the air. My mind a hula hoop going around, but got nothing to spare. Nothing to waste. Head in the clouds like I was on that. I'ma pull up in something ignorant. I promise. Just watch. Enough to make mama worry about them cops. But I can't change. I was raised by the old ones. And when they see me, they be like, what you know, huh? Don't forget all your family and where you came from. Money change, your spirit shouldn't change none. Yeah, I know it, I'm dope. All my homies, they dope. Malcolm, I'm humble as Gandhi, though. Straight out my mama, came out of it, straight out of Compton flow. I'm an animal on it with Anderson, I love you, Bo. We on that. Go show them you can box, we won't ever stop. That's it. One up to the block, headed to the top. Got the in the car like. Who that coming around the way? Come around the way. We find this. Come around this way. Roll the window down, yeah. Brown, really light it brown. Where we going now? Up the way.
This is New York City, the mecca of basketball. The original Rucker League began here in 1947. 9 years later, the tournament found a permanent home uptown at PS 156 Playground. Those early Rucker days showcased talents like Lou Alcindor, Wilt the Stilt, and Earl the Pearl. It's also where Julius Erving became the Doctor. In 1974, the park was respectfully renamed Holcomb Rucker Park in honor of the tournament founder. Now, many have influenced the growth of the Rucker since, but none more heavily than the late great Greg Marius, founder of the EBC. Many would argue that the Ruck is the birthplace of true street ball and the crossover dribble. Considering New York City's penchant for flashy guard play, there are few who can challenge that. After the legendary exploits of Rucker alumni like Rod Strickland, Rafer Alston, and Kyrie Irving, it goes without saying that getting crossed up or banged on can happen to anybody at any given moment here. It's no wonder that this unassuming uptown playground has become the most widely recognized street ball court in the world. Rucker Park, Harlem. Play of the game.